All right, welcome. This is the What Do You Know show hosted by Rio and my co-host Griff.
Yo, what's up?
And we got something interesting we'd like to talk about. It's probably going to be the first video on the YouTubes. Hello, YouTube audience, Americans and around the world.
And everybody else.
Yeah, we're starting this transmission off with something that's near and dear to my heart. We're going to be doing exposés on vocabulary terms, people, themes, and other subjects that we want to broaden people's perception on. We would like to question, what do you know? And today we're questioning, what do you know about pride? Or what do you think that you know about pride? Usually people ascribe pride with a very positive feeling, affirmation. We talked about this on the podcast with Chris Bankhead. That's going to be episode 4. And yeah, 4 already on the podcast. That's going to be dope. Because we have Breeze just released on Friday.
Okay.
Yep. And then we're going to do you and then Chris.
Nice.
And then, because that nice Chris buffer, we'll do the you and then me. So anyway, back to the main subject. We were talking about pride on the podcast, and I wanted to get Griff and my guest Chris's opinion on it. Really, they were telling me that pride is when you have an affirmation of something like a hard work that you've done, or someone that you're proud of, or even being proud of yourself, a positive affirmation of worthiness or feeling. However, I think that that's a misconstrued way to look at pride. I think that we often misuse language. And today I'd like to give you my perception on the word pride, and hopefully it'll kind of teach you something. It maybe what do you know about it? So me personally, I haven't always thought this, but I came to realize that pride is the nature of destruction. Nothing good comes from pride. A lot of people say you're proud of your country, proud of your family, but if those things were to be taken away from you, your self-worth may be diminished. Your feeling of positiveness may be diminished. So the term that I like to use instead of pride, I think I like to appropriately use the term honor, because us as men and women and adults, we should live by an honor code, and we should honor our family and honor our country, honor ourselves. To be proud of something is to necessitate that it must be maintained. Honor is just a strict set of rules, values, and morals that we look to guide us through life. If you are guided by pride throughout your whole life, you'll be overtaken by your ego. And me personally, I realized that I lived by ego for a long portion of my life. And what it did was it limited me to really think about others and to be a respectful person. I would do things, and not even knowingly, but I would act instead of love, out of pride. And to me, I believe that honor is the best way to live honestly. And to live honestly is to be truthful and respectful. So when I look at the word pride, I always question, why is it used so often? Why do we use terms and misappropriate the definition and construe it, and then we confuse ourselves by not really using the adequate language? And I believe that language is power, because language communicates ideas that we have in our head and we put them forth. And what was interesting about when we started talking about this with Elijah on his show is that he brought up that different languages, because we're speaking in English, obviously, can use and put ideas together that we don't have access to in our English language. But I think we have to accurately use our language as best as possible. And I can't get into other languages and how things translate or they don't translate. I think English is more or less black or white in that aspect. But what I see people doing is changing the definition of words. And I see that pride is being altered.
I have a lot of thoughts about what you just said.
Yeah.
First is the thought that honor is inherently better than pride.
I do think so.
And I don't think that's the case. And I like most things, I don't base it off of anything other than my life experiences and the basically a lot of TV that I've watched.
Okay.
So when I think about like a man's honor or like the samurai honor code, right? Thinking about what one's honor can lead you to do. In many cases, like you said, it's a set of rules and values.
Yep.
And sometimes in a person's honor, there are rules and values that determine when they should destroy themselves. And
okay.
I mean, but
you're saying you do it in like reverence to your lord if we're talking about samurai lore culture.
I mean, maybe, but that's just an example. Like your honor can, in the same way that pride can destroy you, your honor can dictate that you are to destroy yourself. Well, and if you are true to your honor, then you will.
Let me actually do an interesting subversion of what you mean.
Okay.
Because a person's death, if it's done in an honorable way, means that they maintained their values to the end. It's a different type. You're saying there's a mortal death. What I'm talking about with pride is a spiritual death. Because like if for instance, I would die honorably for my wife and my children if I had to. You know what I mean? And sure, that would lead to my mortal demise, but it would ensure that I died as a man with my honor intact.
Maybe, but some case, I mean, this is a rule that dictates a man should die if he is to smirch his honor. And so basically it's
seppuku?
Yeah. So to make up.
And we watch a lot of anime people. Yeah.
So to make up for that mistake, to make up for whatever rule was broken, you have to offer yourself as opposed
to... there again, just me personally, the audience can have their ideas, and we want to hear from you in the comment section, and we'll be doing like responses. Reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter as well in response to these topics. But I think that, to me, when you say like, oh, I broke my honor, therefore I must kill myself, like that's maybe their culture, or maybe was the samurai culture in that day. And you and I, we don't really know.
Right.
We're just, you know.
My point is really that, I mean, like, I've done this, and so I have to do this action. I mean, that's really, that really is a manifestation of a person doing something because of pride. Like
that's but not honor, though. Exactly that's what I'm about to say.
But my point being that the same way that you could mistake pride for honor could be mistaken for pride. And so this kind of goes to my next point, is that you say that people are sort of using the meanings of words incorrectly, but really what I think it is that, I mean, we're people, we live, and so words can only describe what our experiences are like to a certain point.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you have to have the flexibility to live in the spirit of the word, and not so much the direct meaning, because those meanings can look very different depending on the context. Yeah. And so that's why even getting into like what is pride versus honor is like, it's very hard to do, because based on the context, one could be mistaken for the other very easily.
And that's exactly why I wanted to do this short episode discussing those things, because sure, I have my perception of the delineation between those two. And I'm trying to point out, if I say that pride is the nature of destruction and honor is the way to live honestly, which is, those would be two divergent paths. Yeah. And that's why I'm ascribing a negative connotation to the word pride, and I'm ascribing a positive connotation to the word honor.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to provide like a new nuanced way to think about something. So this has been What Do You Know Show. What do you know about pride? Let us know, please, in the comment section down below, or reach out to us on Twitter or Instagram at the What Do You Know Show. I don't even know our Twitter handles yet, but they'll be in the description box down below. I made them the other day. All right, signing out. Always question, what do you know?